Um, okay, I think we are. Yes, we're recording. Okay, so we're here with Abby Ackerman, and great friend of ours. You and your husband, you help pastor a church. You pastor a church in South
Yeah.
KC. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we love our church. So it's just a smaller church, but I feel like we're pretty powerful though. So
Exactly.
we started the church about 7 years ago, and really just started with trying to find the needs out there. And so we were working closely, with the homeless shelters. We had my mother-in-law, Tammy, who, she was actually going into the prisons quite often doing classes and things like that. So we would start ministering to the prisons as well. And so that really started this journey of us doing a lot of ministry to really people in transition, people coming out of homelessness, out of addiction, out of prison. And so through the past 7 years, we've really developed some systems to, try and really minister to those groups of people because, which the need is great. And that's really was our hearts, is just trying to find what the needs were and seeing how we could fill those needs. And so a lot of people would consider our church a recovery church. But we just, I don't know that we're a recovery church. We're just people from all kinds of messed up backgrounds and have been resurrected, by Jesus. So that's kind of who we are.
Yes. Well, I wanted to bring you on because I love what you guys do. We've been to your church. We love coming to your church and visiting. And the atmosphere, if I could describe it, is authentic, genuine, real. Like, these are the words that I think of when I think of you guys, of the people who are there that you're ministering to. And, I love it because I believe you are affecting real change in lives in Oklahoma. And so I really appreciate what you guys do. And
thank you.
Not only do you do the work you do in the church, discipleship, working with people, growing them spiritually, but you have so many other nonprofits that you guys have started with specific emphases. And so if we could just kind of talk about each one of those and what the focus is.
Yeah, sure. So the heart of all this, it's funny, when you start getting into ministry and you start seeing the needs, it's like, okay, well, now what can we do about this need? Now what can we do? I mean, because there's so many different needs. But so the heart and vision obviously was birthed out of our church, but we felt like this was so much bigger than just our church, and bigger than ourselves. So we actually started a nonprofit called Ignite 405. And to be honest, Jake, it's in a summary, it's, we want to ignite change in order to break cycles of dysfunction. And that's really our heart, is that we see so many people caught up in just cycles of dysfunction from generation to generation. And it's heartbreaking. And we know that there's a better way, that there's a different way. And so that's really the mission of Ignite 405. And you can kind of picture Ignite 405 as like an umbrella nonprofit for different programs. So our vision is that we would have 4 different programs, but 2 of them are already up and running. And that is our transitional home called the Dunamis House. The Dunamis is Greek for power. But the Dunamis House is a program, transitional living program, for those coming out of prison or addiction recovery programs. So we're kind of that next step in surrounding them, giving them kind of a wraparound resource and a support system, because that is one thing that we have learned through everything that we have done, is it is so huge to have a support system. And you can have all of the resources and be given all of the things that you need, but if you don't have a support system to continue, we've seen that people just fail and they fall, and they will fall back into their old ways of doing things. And that's why you see a lot of people that have come out of prison, they just go right back because they don't have that system. Or the same thing, trying to overcome an addiction. they don't have a support system, so they just fall back to old ways.
Right.
You can see I'm sorry, what?
Maybe it's backwards and you can't read it, but this is so close to my heart in understanding connection and community.
Yeah.
Join or die. Establish a more perfect union together we rise. You have to yeah. And even our forefathers understood that you can't do this alone, that the colonies had to come together to be effective and to actually survive. And that's true as a colony, that's true as an individual. And so we have to adjust some of our thinking, that although we promote individualism in America, where we believe in empowering the individual and individual rights, we also have to constantly look on how we can come together as a whole, because like it or not, we're connected. We share space, we share land. And so we need to actually, what can I do to invest in your life and somebody else's life so we all go higher? Yeah. If you have that mentality, you go higher. But chances are, if you're self-focused and it's about me, then there's a possibility of both boats sinking.
Yeah.
So I believe in what you're doing in that aspect. I love the community focus.
Yeah, I will have to give credit to the Dunamis House director, who she's also close to my heart because she's my mother-in-law. But Tammy Ackerman, she that is huge on her heart, and she has been doing the prison ministry and the homeless ministry for years, and so she has kind of led that way, led us the way to kind of open our eyes, as well as to what they actually go through and what they really need. And it is a hard ministry and heartbreaking because you don't always see them succeed, but when you can surround them, it gives them the best chance that they can have.
I love that. Yeah. And I think that's the point, is you have to get involved. You have to get your hands dirty. You have to come on their level. And, that's been something even my platform here with the campaign is, it's not top-down politics. We can't make policy up here hoping somehow it's going to affect people down below. You have to go to where the people are, find out what the need is, and say, okay, now let's structure something to help you rise, instead of trying to, throw a line down from above and hoping you can grab on and pull yourself up.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't know how to even reach for that line.
Right.
Or they don't even know that it's there.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Exactly. So. We know our prison systems are overcrowded. Oklahoma, as you know, leads the nation and the world in prisoners per capita. And the last piece of data that I think that we've got is 1,079 prisoners per 100,000 people.
Yeah, it's
and
crazy.
There has to be a reduction of at least 35% to just reach the next highest state.
Man.
So that is crazy. There has to be an adjustment made. We have, and it's on a lot of people's mind, on a lot of people's agenda, is prison reform. What do we do? I believe this. I believe you guys are the answer. I believe people like you, people that have boots on the ground that are actually doing the work, are the answer. Because if we just resort to policies and procedures and systems, those have some effect. They're not being effective right now. So there are changes we have to make in our policies and systems and legislature. But a big question I'm asking is, how do we find and connect with ministries like yours, and not even ministries, nonprofits, people who just have people on their heart and are willing to go out and get dirty and get involved? And then how can the government come alongside and help fund and support nonprofits who are busy doing the critical work? Because we know that mental health and illness plays a huge role. It plays a huge role in the likelihood of someone going to prison. And that's starting at a young age. That's starting in adolescence. And, we know that along with our prison issue is our foster care issue, which is being improved. That's awesome. We have a lot of attention, a lot of effort going to that, but they're very directly connected. If foster kids are being taken from their home, then obviously there's dysfunction in the home. And sometimes they're taken from the home because the parents are sent to prison. And so you already have a host of issues there that are intimately connected. And if we don't do something to help them at a young age, if we don't do something to help bring this family together and get whole, then this system, this cycle is going to repeat itself. So
Yeah.
kids are great. Everybody's doing Zoom interviews from home.
Hey, this is Makai, everybody. All right. You got there with Daddy from him. Got there with Daddy from So, yeah, I gotta love kids, and that's obviously we have the Dunamis house, and families are near and dear to my heart as well, because I agree, no matter if it's in the prison or at a homeless shelter or wherever you meet people, wherever they are,
right.
It seems like the story always starts, when I was a kid, when I was 10 years old, or when I was 8 years old, it always starts when they were a child. And
right.
So, our heart with Ignite 4 and 5, that's why we also started our second program, which is Thrive Families of Oklahoma. And that's really our heart, is to, again, what can we do to break cycles of dysfunction at an early stage, so that it doesn't have to be, okay, these kids grow up, they have issues because of being tossed around in the system, and then they get out of that, and all they do is revert to what they know and what they've been taught of what their parents or whatever their guardians were into. That's what they fall into, because that's what they know. Right. And so our mission and vision with Thrive Families is that, our three main areas is prevention. Prevention is huge of foster care system, reunification, and aged out youth. So those are the three areas that kind of surround the foster care system. And, we believe in partnering with DHS and with other churches and nonprofit organizations to really develop relationships with these families and show them that there are other ways. There are ways of being able to stay together. And so, first of all, just providing a basic need is so huge for some families. Yeah. If we can get in and at least start with providing those basic needs and just tell them, hey, we are here for you. We want you to succeed. We want to help you grow, teach you how, some parents may just have never been taught how to parent. How do you be a good mom and dad, or what, how can I connect with my child in a better way, or what resources are out there for your family? So it's what are the needs with the families, and how can we help them, or help them get connected to those resources. And we are something exciting, Jake, is we are actually getting ready to start our first transitional home for aged out youth of the foster care system in June. So we are trying to get ready for that, and we know it's going to be a big venture, but again, we know there's a need, and we just want to love on these youth and these families, and really just start a process of change and kind of igniting hope in them as well.
Such a critical time in their lives as they're aging out. I mean, not only, there's things happening in their mind, in their bodies, and they're stepping into adulthood. And it's a vulnerable time for someone who comes from a stable home. Yeah. And you have someone who has been in transition possibly their whole lives. And it's such a vulnerable time. You have to connect with people like that on a relational level. Come along beside them and say, we are here with you and for you. And the government can only go so far. Yeah. The government is about law. It's pretty much black and white systems. And so I believe this is not the role of the government. It's the role of the people like you guys. But then the government can come alongside and help provide resources for you to do the necessary work.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I believe that the people, the ones, that are willing to kind of get out there, we have to be willing to partner together and like you said, get our hands dirty and really just, the blessing that comes with this type of stuff is you get in to do ministry, but you really fall in love with the people. Right. And you see that, they're really not any different than you are. But the thing is, one small choice here leads to another choice that just kind of leads them down a wrong path.
Right.
And we're all real close to, I mean, we can make a wrong choice that
One
leads
choice away. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I think if we can just see that as we come together, like we could really make a big impact, one family at a time. And I truly believe that tons of lives can be changed just by keeping that as a focus.
Absolutely.
This is
I
my
love it.
sidekick today, everybody.
I love it. We're all about being real. And, so much happens in politics where there's always the question mark is,
Yeah.
are you real? I know what you're saying, but I'm not sure I can trust that. I mean, that's where I've been as people look at politics. And I love this kind of stuff. I love, hey, let's get in connecting with real life people who are investing their lives in other people, both in their children and in other people's children.
Yeah.
That's, I believe, where you can really locate someone's heart and determine, can I trust this person?
Yeah.
So and this is not to put the spotlight on me. It's saying, I love this. I love, hey, life is messy. And
Yeah.
we try to have perfect Zoom calls and a perfect, setup. But
Yeah.
hey, it's life.
Yeah.
And I believe that, you see that in every area, whether you're talking about church or politics or,
Yeah.
the prison system, whatever area you're looking at. And, you learn to adapt. You learn to look at a problem and find a solution. You become solution sensitive instead of
Yeah.
problem sensitive. So,
Yeah. All right.
As I think about prison reform, because I believe it's something not only in Oklahoma, but on a national level, we have to look at this. How can there's a growing issue. A lot of good things, a lot of good emphasis has been put on this and on the foster care system. I just talked to a former senator in Colorado yesterday. And he said, and I mentioned one of the things that's in my heart to help and to legislate to improve is the foster care system in Oklahoma. And he said, hey, it's not just Oklahoma, it's everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so how do we deal with child welfare? How do we help the children who are taken out, but how do we go even deeper and work to bring stability to a family so they don't have to be taken out? We can come alongside with the families like you guys are doing to bring wholeness and healing and hope so that we can keep those families together.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just strong in my heart, and I love what you guys are doing. And I think that when I think about, okay, if I were to be elected to Congress as a representative.
Excuse my family. There's a lot going on today.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we'll make it brief. I'll wrap it
like
up.
You said, it's messy. It's not perfect.
Exactly. But if I were to be elected, this is where my mind goes: is okay. How can we affect real change to reduce prison population?
Yeah.
I think that we can't look at the prison. We have to look at what comes before it.
Yeah, you have to look at the root. That's kind of where I think it's what is the root of everything. And that's, with Ignite 405, we may have different programs that, target different, I guess, areas, but the root of everything is the same. The root comes from a deeper place. We're just hitting it at a different angle with the different programs.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you that there, it is a lot of work, and that there's a lot of work still to be done. But I believe that it is possible, and that we can do our part. And if everybody does do their part, that we can really see some good change.
That's good. I believe it too. Well, hey, I appreciate your time. And I'm going to let you get back to your busy life because I know you got a lot going on. But I'll be sure to post the links to all of your organizations so that people know where to find you guys and come and support you, because I believe you're doing critical work for the state. So I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you for your time. I always love talking about, just things that we're passionate about
Yeah.
and really creating change for our communities. It's big on my heart. I know it is on yours as well. And so, yeah, I appreciate uh, the time and
Yeah.
to talk and hang out.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, hey, bless you guys, and we will stay in touch.
Okay, sounds good. You too.
We'll see you.
Bye.